Yunus provokes. Call Northeast India landlocked.
7 states of India, eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked country, landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean.
India speaks in one voice. Back off Yunus.
Many people threaten that we will cut the chicken necks and we will disrupt Northeast. Our railway minister has announced that over the chicken neck there will be 4 railway tracks to increase railway connectivity to Assam.
Northeast leaders bash Yunus pitch to China. Bangladesh's big provocation. That is our top focus on India First.
There is anger in India's northeastern states after Bangladesh's chief advisor to the government, Nobel laureate Professor Muhammad Yunus, made a reference to India's 7 sisters, the 7 landlocked states, saying that Bangladesh is the guardian of the ocean and that's the access that they have. Political leaders of the northeastern states have hit back and hit hard at Professor Muhammad Yunus. This after Bangladesh's interim government advisor raked up the 7 sisters, referring to them as landlocked in a bid to woo China and to seek more Chinese investment in Bangladesh. So Professor Muhammad Yunus's rather desperate appeal to Beijing to invest in Bangladesh has drawn an angry and a strong response from chief ministers of several Indian states. For example, the Assam Chief Minister, Himant Biswa Sarma, he called Professor Muhammad Yunus's comments provocative and unacceptable. He warned that such statements actually reflect a deeper strategic consideration and long-standing agendas that must not be ignored. To counter such risks, Himant Biswa Sarma called for scaling up infrastructure. That's a very pertinent point he's making, and hear this carefully. Himant Biswa Sarma, Chief Minister of Assam, is calling up for scaling up infrastructure across the region, particularly by focusing on that very narrow Siliguri corridor or the Chicken's Neck corridor. I'll tell you more about it during the course of the broadcast. Now, Tipra Mohta Party Chief Pradyot Manikya has also issued a very strong response suggesting that India should take a more aggressive approach towards securing India's access to the seas for the northeast. He suggested in some ways a route through Bangladesh. Congress's Gaurav Gogoi, TMC's Abhishek Banerjee, they too slammed Professor Muhammad Yunus. So this isn't just government or ruling party, but this is India speaking in one voice. From Gaurav Gogoi of the Congress party to Trinamool Congress's Abhishek Banerjee, this is India speaking in one voice. This shows the collective power of our country. So Professor Muhammad Yunus told Chinese investors, he was trying to woo them, that India's northeastern states are landlocked and that Bangladesh is the only guardian of the Indian Ocean. What are the implications, the ramifications? Why did he see this? How should India read this and see through his designs?
7 states of India, eastern part of India, called Seven Sisters. They are landlocked country, landlocked region of India. They have no way to reach out to the ocean. We are the only guardian of the ocean for all this region. So this opens up a huge possibility. So this could be an extension of the Chinese economy. Build things, produce things, market things, bring things to Nepal, China, bring it out to the whole rest of the world. That's the production house for you. So that's the opportunity we should seize and we should implement, we should get it done. Nepal has unlimited hydropower, which is a blessing. Bhutan has unlimited hydropower. That's a blessing. We can bring it to our purpose, to our setting up our factories and so on. And from Bangladesh, you can go anywhere you want because the ocean is in our backyard. So this is the opportunity that we want to take. And not necessarily it will be something you produce and sell it to the world. You can produce in Bangladesh, sell it to China too.
Assam is connected to the rest of India through the chicken neck. Chicken neck is an important discussion, even in political lexicon also. many people threaten that we'll cut the chicken necks and we'll disrupt Northeast. But today, our railway minister has announced that over the chicken neck, there will be 4 railway tracks to increase railway connectivity to Assam. And I am sure at appropriate time, he will also announce minimum 2 railway line under the chicken necks. That is also, I am sure that is also in his mind. And obviously that is going to come, and we are a new India under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, and we are capable of delivering that.
Well, I think this is a very shocking statement by Chief Advisor Mohammed Yunus. He has absolutely no right to make a statement like that. He knows that the Northeast is an integral part of India, and we have had very close discussions with the government of Bangladesh on access by Northeast India to the Bay of Bengal. I must say that we must condemn this statement because the manner in which it was made, as though the Northeast belongs to Bangladesh, and actually this, I must tell you, that this is an old habit of the BNP government.
Well, as you know very well, we created Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And you also know that we did not take any cartographic advantage. And now Bangladesh is saying that China must help and China must get into the 7 states. If Mr. Yunus thinks that he can get away with, is sadly mistaken, because India is not what they are used to, that we never thought in terms of these strategic advantages. Now India is fully aware of it, and Mr. Yunus' idea is only going to remain as an idea.
So Hemant Biswa Sarma very specifically spoke of the chicken's neck or the Siliguri corridor. Let's tell you a little more about it before I bring in our special guests on this broadcast. The chicken's neck or that Siliguri corridor is a very narrow strip of land in Bengal. It's about 60 kilometers long and just about 22 kilometers wide. Borders Nepal, Bhutan and Bangladesh, as you can see. It connects the northeastern states to West Bengal and the rest of the country. But how should one view this statement of Professor Mohammed Yunus? Joining me on this special broadcast is Ambassador Veena Sikri, India's former High Commissioner to Bangladesh. Also with me is Lieutenant General Syed Atta Hasnain. He's former Kashmir Corps Commander, but someone who's also served extensively in this area. And Ambassador Sikri, you said India should condemn this statement. Now, why is this statement not above board in your appreciation?
Well, 2 things I think we have to say very clearly. First of all, you're talking about as if Bangladesh controls every access for the Northeast. I must tell your viewers that as in the northeastern states, they do have access to Calcutta port. They have been doing it for 70 years, but it is true, we have agreed with the government of Bangladesh. We have agreements with them of long standing. Over the last 15 years, it has been evolved for giving the northeast states access to the Bay of Bengal through Chittagong port and Mongla port. This is the Chittagong port which comes through Tripura, and then you have a bridge on the river Feni, and then you come to the 75 kilometer Chittagong. On Mongla port side, which is just 1 day sailing from Kolkata, you have the riverine transport going all the way across to Zakiganj in the northeast. Yes. So these are agreements. Now, if Bangladesh does not want to abide by these agreements, it's a very serious matter, because you expect that international agreements between 2 countries, they should be abided by. But instead, Yunus is pretending that these agreements don't exist and that, Bangladesh has full control and they're the guardians of the ocean, which is completely incorrect. The guardian of the Bay of Bengal are 3 countries, India, Bangladesh and Myanmar. There is no such thing as, Bangladesh being guardian of that. Now, and the second thing that is very disturbing on what he said is that he's talking about, bringing electricity from Bhutan, bringing electricity from Nepal. Now, here they all have to go through India. So, as far as India is concerned, Yunus is absolutely sure that India will give access to electricity from Bhutan to Bangladesh, electricity from Nepal to Bangladesh, but Bangladesh will not give access to northeastern states to go through Chittagong and Mongla port. This is completely one-sided. He should not expect anything like that. In fact, if Bangladesh thinks that they are going to deny access to northeastern states to the agreed access to Chittagong and Mongla ports, then why should India respect the rights of a lower riparian states and give them any share in the river waters? These are
Yes.
everything is based on give and take. Everything is based on a mutual understanding, on friendship, on trusting each other. But in
And
China,
this clearly is an indication, General Hasnain, that India or Bangladesh is giving India no reason under Mohammad Yunus to trust Bangladesh. Every action appears to be more hostile than his previous one.
See, Gaurav, there's no doubt about it that this message which Mohammad Yunus was conveying was not a message from Bangladesh proper. It was actually a message right out of the ISI's book itself. Because the ISI has been very, very active here, you know. All this while,
Yes.
it's been very, very active. And because of that, putting words in his mouth, making the statement from time to time, we know that in this kind of a diplomatic standoff, these kind of statements make a difference, make a huge difference. This is generally to put India off, create some kind of a rift with the Chinese, and hope like hell that Bangladesh will be the beneficiary of it. It's quite clear that Bangladesh will probably try or attempt to do something within their own infrastructure to create obstacles for the movement of Indian traffic. But it's not necessarily that it will happen. This is just a question of a lot of rhetoric which is going on. And this is also the radicals behind him who are making these statements. Attempt is to provoke. That's the whole idea. The attempt is to provoke. And we need not get provoked. I think
Yes.
the Assam Chief Minister, the Honorable Chief Minister's statements were absolutely correct, bang on today. That we will continue to create our infrastructure. That infrastructure will be guarded, will be secured, and will be utilized as per our requirements all the time.
Okay. Ambassador Sikri, India had permitted Pakistan to punch far above its weight for decades, only to realize that Pakistan, as the External Affairs Minister very recently put it, that, that DNA is bigoted. Pakistan cannot change. You cannot expect better from Pakistan. Are we to understand, under the likes of Mohammad Yunus and the radicals who are on center stage in Bangladesh, Bangladesh is no different from Pakistan? It's the same DNA.
well, actually, one must understand, your question is absolutely correct, but one must understand that these are the people who are in power today, the Jamaat-e-Islami, backed by Pakistan with the Razakars, they are the ones who lost in 1971. And surely they have the same DNA. They do have the same DNA because they were on the same side in 1971. They didn't want the creation of Bangladesh. So today, when Yunus is there as a puppet with the Jamaat-e-Islami and Hizb ut-Tahrir and all the Islamist parties behind him, the Hifazat-e-Islam and the Islami Andolan Bangladesh, they all want to follow the Pakistan playbook. But I must tell you that one thing is there, that Yunus is losing popularity very fast in Bangladesh. Nobody expected this kind of a rise of radical extremism and them trying to take over. In fact, Yunus is copying the Islamist playbook because his special assistant Mahfouz Alam, who is a member of Hizb ut-Tahrir, already put a tweet showing West Bengal and the northeastern states and all of them as part of what is called Banglastan. That they're going to take over all of this and it's going to become one of them. Of course, he deleted the tweet later, but the damage had been done. So I think that one has to understand this playbook that is there, and they're trying to provoke India, as General Zaid Atta Hasnain very correctly said, into responding. But I think that we have to be very clear on this, and we cannot be quiet on it, because this will only encourage Yunus to go and do some more of such threats and to posture himself 1,000 times bigger than he actually is. And we have to see that Yunus is a constitutionally illegal government. They have
absolutely unelected leader playing in the hands of radical Islamists. An economy that was doing well in Bangladesh is suddenly, General Hasnain, it's in tatters. It's in tatters in Bangladesh, but it's exactly in an opportunity like this to divert attention from their failing economy, from their collapsing society. Bangladesh would want to focus on, one, trying to bring their religion to unite their country, and trying to paint India as the villain, and perhaps using our Northeast as part of, in their playbook. Is that an apprehension? What are countermeasures that India must take?
See, Gaurav, we have followed a very, very sensible, stable policy so far since the 5th of August 2024. There have been attempts to intimidate us at every juncture. I think the kind of statements which the Honorable Chief Minister of Assam has just made is the kind of thing which sort of is a good response without any rhetoric, typical and a good Indian response, I would say. We have not been intimidating ourselves. We haven't used any strong language at all. Tomorrow, the day after, the Prime Minister will very well meet Mohammed Yunus at the BIMSTEC meeting too. We don't know whether it's going to be a meeting on the sidelines yet. But I think the way our diplomacy has gone has been a very, very mature display. That's the way it should continue for the moment, although we must continue to keep our necessary diplomatic tools also sharpened, so that if push comes to shove, then we must go all out and ensure that.
So, Ambassador Sikri, we are told military-to-military relations between India and Bangladesh were, are, and perhaps shall remain extremely strong. But can the military drill some sense into these radical Islamists in Bangladesh? I'm told there was a meeting between Professor Mohammed Yunus and General Waqar-uz-Zaman, the army chief. Or do you think the situation has gone really out of hand and even the army may not be in a situation or a position to control it?
No, the army, I must say, is the one factor of authority and stability in Bangladesh. And they are the one factor that the people of Bangladesh recognize, that they are a factor of authority and stability, and what they say will prevail. On 24th of February this year, that just about 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, actually the General Waqar-uz-Zaman, the army chief of Bangladesh, made a very strong statement, pointing directly at Yunus and saying enough is enough. Yes. And they want stability, and the army had been called out and given police powers and given magistracy powers, but they have been lying low. They've been acting very normally because they don't want to, make it very obvious that the army is there. But he said that he will take action if the situation continues the way it is, and he decried the complete anarchy, the complete law and order breakdown, the breakdown of the economy, and he was reflecting the grave sense of dissatisfaction that exists among the people of Bangladesh. After that, of course, there has been a meeting, and there has been, some kind of a makeup. But I think General Waqar-uz-Zaman's statement stands there very strongly. And should the situation continue as it is, anything can happen in Bangladesh. And I think we have to be very clear that the popularity of this regime of Yunus, backed by the Jamaat-e-Islami, and the party that is being made by the so-called students, they aren't really students at all. They belong to the Islami Chhatra Shibir, the National Citizen Party. Even that has got no traction at all with the people. The people are not going for their rallies. They're spending a lot of money having iftar parties and taking 100-car convoys. Where's all the money coming from? So the situation is a lot of dissatisfaction. We have to, of course, keep a very close watch on the situation, and we would like there to be very early elections that are free, fair, and inclusive. We've said that we will deal with the elected government, and we will do that, but the elections...
before I bring in General Hasnain, I also want your response on how India has reacted as a nation. So yes, we saw a statement from a ruling party chief minister, or Assam chief minister Hemant Biswa Sarma, but we also saw a statement from Congress party's leader Gaurav Gogoi. We also saw a statement from Trinamool Congress's Abhishek Banerjee, who said it's a disgusting remark by Mohammed Yunus. Deeply concerning and unacceptable, says Gaurav Gogoi, Congress party leader. Isn't that the best response? India speaks in one voice, Ambassador Sikri, that message goes across loud and clear?
Absolutely. I think it's very good, and I think it's good that the government of India kept, quiet and following the situation, and all the people belonging to the neighboring states of Bangladesh, whether it is West Bengal, whether it is the Assam, and they have spoken up, and this is very, very good, because them speaking up shows that the states adjacent to West Bengal, what he is describing as the Seven Sisters, they are speaking in one voice, and they will not let Bangladesh do anything to affect the sovereignty, territorial integrity of India, and they will be as one with the government of India, with the central government of India, with everybody. If the Congress party has also spoken, and this is very good. So I think that the message has gone out loud and clear, and I think that this has only hastened the demise of the Yunus regime in Bangladesh, because the people of Bangladesh are fed up. Their factories are closing. There was a report, for example, the other day, how
Yes.
Bangladesh is wanting to get cotton, for example, that they get from India. They're trying to get it from Pakistan, from the West, and it's taking them 45 days, and with
Yes.
delays and higher prices compared to India, which comes in 2 or 3 days. But still,
Absolutely. And much cheaper. Electricity that's so much cheaper than they would
Yes.
get from anywhere else. But then, unfortunately, they seem to be cutting their nose to spite their face, General Hasnain. And this is where does lack of border fencing along the India-Bangladesh border, and Union Home Minister Amit Shah recently raised it in Parliament, does that remain a major cause for concern, that a major part of it still hasn't been fenced?
Well, Gaurav, yes, that definitely is a matter of concern, but I don't foresee an immediate kind of a solution to that, because this will have to go through a fair amount of negotiation. But to come back to your question regarding the Indian response, I did hear your remarks earlier too, which I thought you were completely bang on, that this is a dream kind of a response from India, where you find complete consensus. My mind only goes back to 1994, where we had all-party resolution, all the parties coming together 22nd of February to say that the whole of Jammu and Kashmir belonged to India. This is exactly the kind of thing which is happening in the Northeast at the moment, and I hope this will continue. As far as the issue of the Bangladesh army is concerned, I do have one opinion. I think this is probably the most important entity in Bangladesh today. And Waqar Zama is a very important individual personality in this whole game. And I hope that he remains stable and remains in power, because he will make the difference at the end.
That's a very pertinent point you're making there, sir. Ambassador Veena Sikri and General Hasnain, as always, many thanks for joining me here on India Today. And we'll be tracking developments in Bangladesh and the region very, very closely, because Bangladesh under Mohammad Yunus may want to cut its nose to spite its face, but that can't be at the cost of India's security. That's very clear. Will Prime Minister Narendra Modi grant him audience and meet him on the sidelines of BIMSTEC summit in Bangkok? That's another story we'll be tracking very closely.
Motorola Razr 50 Ultra comes with Google